I'm 40 years old. I was 15 when it happened, but I remember it like yesterday. My only expectations around sex had come from what I'd seen in the movies and what I had heard from my friends, which frankly wasn't much since they didn't have a whole lot of experience either. I had very little experience with dating or hooking up, and my parents really didn't provide much information on sex or losing my virginity. The only advice or information I can remember getting was from my dad on a fishing trip when I was about 10 years old, and he filled me in on the basics. That was about it. Didn't get any advice or information from religious figures either, so it's pretty much on my own. Well, at that point in my life, I was consumed with women. Just the thoughts of women. I loved the female body. I loved getting attention from women. I loved I was amazed with the whole thing. And I had heard that a woman's vagina was so soft and so incredible that it would just be an amazing experience. And I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to have sex. I wanted to explore the female body, every inch of it. My mom hired a woman to clean the house in the summer of 1984. Vanessa was basically a maid, 23-year-old, light-skinned black woman. Her skin was like coffee with cream. She was beautiful. She looked like Lisa Bonet. She had an incredible body. And from the start, I felt like I was picking up a weird vibe from her. Like she'd smile at me and just kind of look at me differently. And, part of me, the insecure part, just really felt like I was imagining it because I thought that was what I wanted to believe. Well, that first day, my mom drove her to the train. And when my mom came back, she walked in the house and she said, Vanessa talked about me the whole time about how cute she thought I was. It made my day. Vanessa returned to clean the house again 2 weeks later, and my summer vacation had started the week before, so the situation was pretty unique. Both my parents worked, they weren't home. My sister was gone for the summer, so it was just me and a buddy who'd stayed over the night before. Well, when my mom left in the morning, she said that Vanessa would be there cleaning all day and that we should stay out of her way and not give her any trouble. Vanessa was cleaning the bedrooms upstairs when she called me into my parents' room to talk. So I headed over and walked into the bedroom. As she was walking out of the master bath, she looked at me and she said, "Sit down, I need to tell you some things." I said, "Sure, what's up?" Well, she knelt in front of me and she told me that she hadn't been able to stop thinking about me and that she was incredibly attracted to me. And I didn't really know what to say at that point, but I told her I thought she was very pretty and that I'd been thinking about her as well. And then I said, "Well, how much do you like me?" And I can still hear her voice in my head to this day. She looked me in the eye and she said, "I like you enough to fuck your brains out." Wow. Then she put my hand on above her heart. She was wearing this thin yellow t-shirt and I could feel her heart beating. It was beating really fast. And then she moved my hand over her breast. And she wasn't wearing a bra, so I was immediately turned on. Next thing, she pushes me back on the bed and she starts kissing my face and neck. And then she leans up toward my ear and she whispers, "Get your friend out of here, okay?" I said, "Okay." Just ran out of the room as fast as I could. I had absolutely no idea it was going to happen. So I was blown away. We didn't use birth control, and to be honest, I didn't even think about it. I did know enough to pull out at the point of no return the couple times we had sex that day, but that's not really birth control. It was an amazing experience. Obviously, unlike anything that had ever happened to me before. I remember it so vividly, it was like it was yesterday. I ran out of my parents' bedroom and I got back to my buddy and I told him that I needed to do some things for my parents, so he had to take off. And so I kind of pushed him out the door and I ran back upstairs into the master bath. And there's Vanessa with a bottle of Mr. Clean in one hand and a rag in the other. And I looked at her and I said, "He's gone and the door's locked." She drops everything and she kind of pushes me back on the bed and then she starts kissing me. Next thing I know, her shirt comes off and I'm kissing her everywhere. I just wanted to devour every inch of her body. And then she took my shirt off and she started kissing my chest and neck. It was incredible. Soon after that, she slid out of her shorts, revealing her entire slender, toned body. It was just phenomenal. And I specifically remember kissing all the way down to her toes. She had these pedicured toes. And I started kissing back up her legs, wanting to get to that special place I heard about. And I was almost there, and she looked at me and she said, "We need to move to the floor because I just put clean sheets on this bed." Of course, I'm not going to argue. I lasted just under 2 minutes that first time. It really wasn't anything spectacular. What I do remember was at the point of no return, I pulled out and I grabbed myself, and Vanessa immediately replaced my hand with hers and finished me on her stomach, all the while telling me how incredible it felt and how beautiful she thought I was. I was speechless. I'm looking down at this gorgeous woman, thinking to myself how beautiful she was and just how lucky I was. And I just immediately collapsed on her body. At that moment, the phone rings. So I jump up and I look over at my mom's nightstand. It's 11 a.m. and I grab the phone. It's my mom on the other end of the line. Meanwhile, Vanessa's grabbing her clothes off the floor and off the bed, and she kind of runs out of the room. She turns around and she smiles at me and she mouths, "Thank you." And I'm trying to hold the conversation. I could, trying to catch my breath. It's my mom calling to find out if Vanessa's actually working or if she's just scurrying around. What are the odds? I mean, seriously. I was respectful during and afterwards. It's important to me to make the person I'm with feel really good, to feel as good as they possibly can. And it happened really from the start. It was something I think I did instinctively. And with Vanessa, I kissed every inch of her body and I kept asking her, "Does this feel good? Does that feel good?" It was wonderful because she was very responsive and very, very helpful in that regard. It's something I've carried with me to this day because when it comes to sex, I'm a giver. I want the person I'm with to know that I want them to have a phenomenal experience. Now, with Vanessa, I'm not going to lie, it was awkward at times, but she was great. She just kind of guided me through and was really there for me. I couldn't have asked for a better first time experience. For Vanessa, I think it was a little bit different. Her focus was more one of determination and the fact that we were going to have sex. It was kind of odd, actually, because later that day she looked at me and she told me that if I hadn't cooperated, she said with a smile that she would have raped me. And I said, "Yeah, right." And I kind of laughed. And she said, "No, I'm serious." But during the actual experience, she was very passionate. I mean, the lovemaking was phenomenal in that regard. Without question, the best part of the whole experience was the foreplay. But afterwards, I was feeling a little conflicted, even a little guilty, because in the spring I had met a girl who was spending the summer living with her aunt, studying ballet at the local school. So I was very interested in her, yet here I was having sex with my maid. And it was a pretty unique situation because here I am, not even a sophomore in high school, and I knew that I was living this incredible, unique penthouse letter like situation. And so to feel odd about it when it would be so many guys' dream just was weird, but I couldn't help the way I was feeling. So that afternoon, I talked to Vanessa about it, and she was incredibly cool. She even asked, she said, "Do you regret this?" And I said, "No, not at all. I don't regret it. I just am not sure what I'm feeling right now." I thought Vanessa was nice and I thought she was very pretty, but there was something about her determination and the fact that she said she would have raped me if I hadn't cooperated that really didn't sit quite well with me. She did tell me that she was planning on having sex with me throughout the entire summer and she wanted to teach me things, to turn me into the best lover she possibly could. She also told me that anytime she was over cleaning the house, I had better plan on getting fucked, as she put it, in the kitchen, in the laundry room, in the living room, in my bedroom, everywhere. Afterwards, I called my buddy who spent the night. Vanessa was downstairs in the kitchen, and I was upstairs trying to be as quiet as possible. Well, he picks up the phone, and his brother's on the line too. And he said, "Dude, what happened?" I said, "You are not going to believe this." He said, "I just fucked the maid." And I was trying to be kind of quiet. So I told them a little bit of the story. Neither one of them believed me, and of course, I wasn't really surprised by that. But I told them a little bit about what happened, and then I heard Vanessa coming up the stairs. So I hung up as quickly as I could. But that story of the maid and me became a favorite at the all boy high school we attended, and by junior year, everyone was pretty much aware of it. To make a long story short, I told my mom that Vanessa didn't really do too much and basically worked it so that my mom fired her. The truth is, I was totally freaked out at that point. I was afraid she was going to get pregnant. I was afraid I might have an STD. It was just way too much for me to handle. At the same time, I was recognizing that this is an amazing situation and the whole sex thing. I wanted more of it. I wanted a lot more of it. And unfortunately, that really didn't happen until the following summer at the beach. My attitude towards sex has always focused more on the giving nature of it. I was really taken with the way Vanessa responded. I love the way she moved when I touched her. I love the way she caught her breath. And it's something I've taken with me into all my subsequent experiences with women. I love watching them react. I love watching them move. I love being the person responsible for bringing them pleasure. That to me is what makes sex exciting. It's what makes sex fulfilling. And I look back on that first experience with Vanessa, it was one of the wildest, coolest things that has ever happened to me. I wouldn't trade it for anything. From 11 in the morning when that all started till my mom got home at 5:30, and she was the first one home, there were not a lot of clothes on in my house during that period of time. Vanessa and I just enjoyed each other's company all over the house, literally. And we just had an amazing time. One experience is better than the next. The one thing I do regret, though, is pushing my mom to fire her, because that wasn't fair. It wasn't the right thing to do. Uh, and frankly, I kind of screwed myself because I would have been having sex all summer. So I do feel really bad about that. What I will tell you, though, from an advice standpoint, is that you've got to trust your gut. You'll know when it's the right time. You've got to feel like you are truly ready and you truly want it to happen. Then you'll know it's right. Until then, don't let anybody pressure you into sex, ever.